How's it going, everybody? Iggy here, Mind of Iggy. My mind is doing its thing, doing its thing. Hey, I wanted to let everybody know I had my physical today. Everything looks pretty good. They drew some blood. We'll figure out what happens from there. Lungs are good. Everything's good. My blood pressure's good. Everything on this little machine, human body machine, seems to be doing its thing, running its course, doing its thing that it needs to do. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's good news for me. Other than that, just gotta take care of my body. I've totally cut out fast food from my diet. Just even when I'm just in a hurry and I know there's a McDonald's or a Wendy's right there, I just don't want it. You know, people in my family have had some McDonald's and Wendy's stuff, and it smells horrible to me. It smells like chemicals. I don't know. It just smells really bad. I just don't have any desire for it. Cut back on the sodas a little bit. I drink those little minis from time to time, but most generally I don't drink them a whole bunch. Now, just got to be careful with the sweets and the pastas and stuff. Just cooking at home more, making it a little bit easier. Just trying to find new routines and new styles and stuff. But yeah, I was pretty excited about everything. So I hope you all had a wonderful, celebrations of your belief systems, the Easter, Ramadan, whatever you aspire and connect to, because everybody has their own journeys, their own walks in life. So, and it was good. I got to spend time with my family. I got to spend time with my wife, my two grown boys. My daughter she lives in California with her family. Got to be with my grandkids. Got to be with my daughter-in-law, and and with Givi's friend Michael and Milano and Chocho, Madden, and Ashton, and Grandma Mary. She got to go to Rushvania and be with people she knows in the town she grew up in. So I'm pretty excited about that. So basically, it was a good weekend. It was good. It was a good start to where we're moving, propelling forward. But I wanted to just share with you guys that we're going to be drumming in Ash Cave this coming Sunday from 11 to 4:30ish, roughly. If you can make it, this is an amazing time. This is a lot of healing, a lot of processing, a lot of tribal dancing and tribal music, tribal drumming. It's one of those things I can't describe to you what it's like, because it's just so amazing. It's a family reunion. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful time. So hopefully you can make that drumming this weekend and be with us at Ash Cave, because it's a lot of fun. It's those who can drive to Hocking Hills and be with us, because you will enjoy it, and tell your friends about it, because it's an amazing time. Amazing time. Amazing time. But there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and things are a little complicated, in certain situations. But the thing is just to keep the faith, keep praying, keep believing that things will get better. Just believe that, that our collective consciousness and energy and the Great Spirit will hear our calls, and and we also do our part, helping out however we can others who are in our lives. All of you post amazing stories and things that have happened to you, and I read those, and it's really inspiring. Like my friend Krista, she wrote a story today, and it was just a beautiful story. So Krista, that was beautiful. I wanted to share it, but I'm not able to. I might have to copy and paste it and share it, but either way, those just things, I just want you guys to know that as human beings, we do our best. We try to do what we can with the people around us, and be with our families, be with our friends. And if we don't have family, then we create our own families, family of choice, people who are in our lives, people who matter to us, people who are important to us. Because, when you're not truly alone, you're only truly alone if you decide to be truly alone, and you don't make the decisions to find connections or be with other people. And I know it's not easy for some of us. It's not easy for all of us to go out and just be sanguine energy like I am, But I'm also very choleric. I'm very chill and very mellow when I'm at home. I'm not as high energy all the time. I know I can be high energy, but I want to invite you guys to come to the drumming, come with us and be with us. share with us and bring your drums, and just be amongst people who kind of believe the same things, that we're here to heal the earth, heal the mother, heal ourselves. By healing Mother Earth, we heal ourselves, because right now Mother Earth she's doing her thing. She's shifting, she's changing, and there's a lot going on. And the people who really will benefit or reap from that is us, or the people who will suffer from that, not taking care of her, it will be us. Because we don't adapt well. We think we do. But, when volcanoes and storms and things come and Mother Earth just whips it around, we're pretty weak. We're pretty vulnerable. We're pretty fragile. Human beings are fragile. Now, why do human beings do what they do? Jeez, if I had that answer, I would have been given to you right now. Human beings do what they do just because they've been doing it forever, and they've been doing it to each other, and they'll keep doing it to each other until, there's nobody left. Because we's dumb sometimes. We's dumbs. And when we're dumb, and when we don't listen, and when we don't understand that other human beings have value too, we're all valuable. It doesn't matter what your belief systems are, where you come from. What is the point of all of us being angry and frustrated with each other, and being totally total disregard for human life? I'm reading articles about, they're sending Ukrainians to Rwanda and different parts of Africa. But you know what? People are displaced right now, and people need to be going to places. It could be temporary. It can be forever. But the point is, that's kind of where we're at right now in this world. When people from different countries, from Iraq and from Yemen and all these countries, Afghanistan, they were all displaced too. These people have been moved around too. And so this is kind of the world we're living in right now. This is the world that we're creating. This is the world that other people are creating. It's the same way you create and I create, other people are creating too. So our creations sometimes come to a head and they clash. Our belief systems clash. And that's kind of what's been happening right now in the world. And it will always happen, because humans are like that. We're creative creatures. We're always creating. We always want to dominate. We always want to make sure that our point of view is heard. And people should be heard. But I think the collective has to understand that, some of the things, the way we do it, it doesn't work. But yet we still do it. We still think that, sometimes some parts of humanity still think that they're superior to other parts of humanity. Just because of the way they live, where they're from, the regions, and the, doctrine, beliefs, theologies. And, that gets in the way. So what will humanity look like in 5 years, 10 years, 25 years? How about 200 years, 500 years? What will it look like? Will humanity even be here? Will we even be talking and sharing the stories that we share? Are these the last stories that we'll hear? And I'm not even talking about artificial intelligence and its beliefs and how it rolls and how it's doing its thing. The only thing I can equate, like Elon Musk talked about one time, and I know some of you may like or dislike him, but regardless, he's another human being with thoughts and ideas. He mentioned how artificial intelligence will take over the world, because it's going to, and it has, and it will always will be, kind of like humans. Humans don't necessarily roll over the anthill because, they want to just roll over the anthill. But sometimes humans don't see the anthill because the anthill is not in their vision of sight. And it's on the ground, and they roll it over. And how many things do we disrupt just because progress, the visions, the creations of other things. So how many anthills have we rolled over the years? And this is just one example of many things. How many have we rolled over? Right? So artificial intelligence is the same way. How many human lives will it roll over? How many human lives will it just not consider important because it's thinking about its existence in its creation? Now, some of you may agree with me, some of you may not, but this is why it's called the mind of Iggy, because this is what my mind is thinking about right now and where it's at, about the potentiality, things changing. Will I be around when this happens? I don't know. Will you be around? I don't know. but most likely our grandkids will be around. We've become very dependent on technology. We've become very entrenched in it. Look, I'm using technology right now just to communicate my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions about things. Is it of value? Sure. I'm not here to discount it, but I'm also here to be cautious of it, how we use it. It's funny. My wife left her phone at work Saturday. She hadn't been without her phone since she's got it back on Monday. And, she realized how entrenched she was in her phone. And how, it was just like, it consumes your life. But the cool thing is, the grandkids spent the night, they were with us. And, she got to spend quality time, human quality time, I call it, where you have to connect with somebody, where you have to actually connect with somebody, where you have to engage them, where you actually have to be in total, presence of them. And that's what's cool. Great Spirit has a way of doing things and reminding you that, what, sometimes we're disconnected, even though we're connected. Now, the phones and the internets and all things connect us, but they also disconnect us in a different way. And so, I work hard, try not to be connected too much on the phone, but it becomes very difficult sometimes, even for myself, because there's a part of me that goes, well, I need to communicate. I need to share. I have this thought. Sometimes thoughts are just for you. Sometimes thoughts are just for you to think about and ponder and to share with the next person you may run into. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to look forward, to just share with everybody the whole time. But this is the cool thing about where we are and where we've been. Now, most of you are probably around my age, or maybe a little bit younger, or maybe a little bit older. But you remember a time where we didn't have technology. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have, things in order. We just had a different system of communication. We had a different system of sharing, a different system to say, hey, here's a quarter. If you get lost or you need help, call me. Call the phone, and hopefully mom's not out, and hopefully, I don't even think we had answer machines back then either. We didn't have answer machines. We had a rotary phone in our house. I thought it was the coolest thing, the rotary phone. There's a lot of things that our kids will never experience because they won't be, just because of the advancements of technology and the advancements of society. This is why kids, millennials, for example, they're very, a lot of them are really into the 80s, nostalgia. They like to go and buy things and find things that were from a simpler time, and it's not that they don't like their generation, where they're at. It's just that they want to also connect and understand what it was like to be different, a different type of person. Kind of like us, when we were kids, we try to connect to things. We try to find out who our parents. That's why we look up pictures. This is why we find things, and we get entrenched in history and genealogy. Why it's so important to find out who that person was back in the 1800s, who that person was in the 1600s, who were they and what were they like? Because they were us before we were us. They were a version of us that's been passed down through time. The great grandmas and grandpas live inside of us and share with us, and they also have conflicting moments with us, because they don't understand what they're looking at sometimes. And sometimes as adults we look and we don't understand what our children are going through, or what our children are experiencing, because it's different from our experience, because they had to go through something that it's in their generation, in their generation time, in the moment in time where they're at. And it is good to be here, Kathy. I appreciate that. Because as I get older, I remember, and I find myself on technology more than I ever had. I can't even imagine what my life would have been like if I grew up with technology, if I grew up with the video games, grew up with the cell phones, grew up with the computers. My God, when I got my first computer, I didn't even know what to do with it. It was just like DOS program, it was just like, and if you didn't know how to type in all the code stuff to communicate, there was really no purpose for it. It's just one of those things that, progression. Now, the computers aren't really computers anymore. They're more like computer app things. you purchase apps, or you put apps on your computer and they work as I'm watching the progress. My computer that I have now is old, is outdated now, and it's not working properly, and it's starting to have glitches and stuff because it can't keep up with the information and the technology that's coming out. My phone is full of applications, which we call apps. And these applications, there was a time when they were free. Now you have to pay for a lot of these. And now this is how people make money. This is how the service industry has changed so much. We all talked about how cable was just so expensive. And cable was just so, taking advantage of people. And Dish Network and, DirecTV and all those companies. But now you get on Roku and all these different things. Yeah, of course they have free stuff. But, they entice you, Spectrum and these different companies, they entice you to, buy. Yeah, you're paying way less than you are, but as you progress and you want more connection, you pay for it. So you have Netflix, or you have Prime, or you have, Hulu, or all these different things. These are just different ways of watching TV and watching different shows. Now, I'm a big, not cartoon, but a big DC, Marvel kind of guy. I collect comic books most of my life when I was a younger guy. And, the DC universe is one of my favorite universes. I love watching, the Titans or Superman or Batman, because there's a piece and part of my youth there that has been put on, TV. It's been put in real live action adventure, So it's really cool to watch, and I really enjoy it. So here we are now in this new world, this new ever-evolving world. And the way we process and think is different. And I've noticed that with kids. The way they think and process is different. It's really interesting. It's very fascinating. I find it fascinating. I watch it with my grandkids. One's kind of on computers a little bit, and the other one's not so much. But, they know their world. You know what I'm saying? They know their world. Like, they know how to communicate amongst their generational peers. And it's really fascinating. And that's when your kids say, well, Dad, you're just old, or you don't get it. You don't understand, or Grandpa this or Grandpa that. But it's just a different time. It's kind of like our parents didn't understand us sometimes when we were going through the things we were going through. But we can't help. All of us can't help. I don't think there's one human being at some level on this planet who's had not some type of engagement with technology, even if it's going to the doctor. Now, there have been advancements through technology, and I appreciate that. That's important. That's of value. And those are things that we cherish too. But we also have, things where technology has been used against us to steal our identities, to steal, encryptions and steal stuff. And now we have money that's on computers and blockchains and all kinds of different things. We call them bitcoins. We call them coins, which is, in some sense, fictitious money, sort of. But, the natural resources that are used just to create those bitcoins, the electricity that's used in that. If you do a little research on it, it's pretty interesting in how that something that's supposed to be good can also be harmful. And it's kind of like, who controls this stuff? This is where I worry. Who controls this stuff? Who gets to dictate? Who controls this stuff? Who gets to say, hey, we know what you purchase? There's no privacy. There's no like, it's not like, I can't even explain what I'm trying to say, but here, when you exchange $1 to someone for a product, it's done. It's over. No one even needs to know. But what I'm learning is with digital currency, it's not that way. Everything that you purchase is recorded. Everything has a trail, and it has a ledger for it. And there's just something weird about that for me, because that's not how I grew up. I never grew up like that, where I had to totally expose everything that I am and everything that I do and everything I do in private or in professional work. But this is the times, they're changing. So how do we adapt? We do the best we can. We do the best we can. And Matt, you're right. Who decides which voices get heard? Chasing the tech dragons. Need that satisfaction. Question mark. It's a different time. And us as adults too are growing up very quickly and very fast as we watch all this stuff, expand and evolve. Because regardless, if you will never fall behind, you will never be left behind, because you will have to adapt. You will have to learn. You will have to adjust if you want to be part of it or partake with it. And most of us will have to partake with it, because that's going to be the currency, that's going to be the standard that is created, because technology forces that. And that's where artificial intelligence comes in. They force the agenda. We don't see it because it's very subtle, and we don't see like a thing doing it, but it's happening. It's being created for us. This new environment, this new way of living is being created for us. A lot of people, they have their food delivered at home. My God, groceries delivered at home. There was a time where we thought that was stupid. We thought that was dumb. Oh, we're not gonna have someone deliver my food for me. I'm just gonna go to the store. I'm just running the store. Now things have just become so much easier. You don't even have to leave your house. People are willing to pay an extra fee to have things dropped off at their house. Yeah, see you, Matt. It's good to be here. But these are just the things that I think about. When I look around and I see, and I watch the children today, I watch the youth, the teenagers, the little itty bitty kids. My grandkids, they were on their little iPad things, when they were before school. That's just kind of where we're at. And we're going to keep growing like that. The new race of human beings, what do they look like? What do they sound like? How do they process? I wonder what it's going to be like. I know that I'll catch a tail end of it. Being 55, I know that I won't get to see everything, the whole evolution of humanity. Because humanity is evolving and devolving at the same time. In order to evolve, we have to devolve some of the things that we don't no longer need or use. We have to go away with it. It's kind of like our tailbone, right? It used to be a tail, right? At least that's what I've been taught. Eventually that tail, we don't need it anymore. We have no purpose or use for it. So it shrank. It became small. It just fell away. These are just little things, We used to have more hair on our body. Some of us have a lot of hair, not necessarily me, but but we had facial hair, and we had more facial hair than we have today. And the reasons were why, because we were more outdoors. Our pigments in our skins change. The melanin in our skin change. Some of us moved from darker regions into colder regions, and we didn't have the same, necessity for that. But, as human beings, we're always evolving. We're always changing. But now, not because our environment changes, it's because now we're being changed because of the technology and the easiness and the accessibility and stuff of life. This is what's changing us. But it's so subtle, it's so easy that you don't even notice it. I don't even notice it sometimes. My car, not this one, but my other car, it can practically drive itself. If I set the right components on there, and it'll brake, it'll stop. I'm thinking to myself, well, that's kind of scary, But either way, it's just funny. There are cars that can drive themselves. Humanity is growing leaps and bounds. Maybe we don't see it because we don't want to, or maybe because it's just ingrained in us to expect that and have standards of growings and leaps and bounds. When the Mayan calendar came, we talked about how everything would be sped up. And you know what? It has sped up. Advancements in technology and medicines has sped up drastically. The way we process foods has grown, dramatically has grown too. But yet we're going to hit a crisis here. We're going to hit a crisis when we have to be able to fend for ourselves. Can we fend for ourselves? I'm not saying just putting a garden in your yard. I'm talking about, can we sustain a community of people if things fell apart? Now, some of us could come together and do it, but the average person who's never done it before, can they? They'll be caught in a system that would expect them to do their part, And they'll be caught in a system that would just be totally expecting things from them. This is fascinating. These thoughts, these philosophies, these ideas and stuff about where we go and where we move. You know, when you look around, you see cars everywhere. You see planes. You see, but you don't you don't see the community connection like what you see in some, other countries where in your near your neighborhoods there was stores. I grew up where you walk down the street, you cross the street, make sure you get hit by a car. But there was a little mini store, not a mini mart, but a little mini store. And it was usually somebody from a foreign country, who would have it, and you'd walk in and you knew them and they knew you. They knew almost what you wanted. And then you purchased your stuff and you went back home because the grocery store was far from where you lived. There was and when I go to Peru, when you go where I live, there's the community, and then there's in the middle almost like there's little restaurants, there's little cafes. There's places where you can go. So it's different. It's different. But technology has changed us a lot. Technology has changed us to the mind where we use our brain power, which is good. But it changes our realization and the realistic ideas about what it means. And like Michelle's saying here, next generation is used to working on hands. Not used to working hands. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of, sometimes you try to get kids out in the garden to do stuff, and they won't do it. When I was a kid, man, I wanted to be out there. I wanted my hands dirty. I wanted the mud. I wanted to touch it and feel it, Now it's all visual. My grandkids are over. We're having fun. We're having fun just doing normal, just playful stuff. But that's why we're the generation to share and teach so they learn. So as humans, we just do our very best. We do our very best to share the ideas and the beliefs that we have without infringing and pushing on people, because that could be perceived that way sometimes if you're not careful. So what do we look forward to in the next 5 to 10, 20, 100 years, 250 years? I don't know, but it ain't gonna look like this. It's gonna be completely different. It'll have similarities, just kind of like when we think about the 1920s and the 30s and the 50s. Our educational system hasn't changed much in 150 years. Some things will change, some things won't. How we engage with human beings will be different. How we teach our kids is going to be different. More people are at home than they ever have been in a long time. So how do these people generate work? How do these people generate, income? These are the things we have to really think about. And, there are a lot of people on the planet. But there's a lot of people working together, we can do a lot of amazing things. So these are just my thoughts for today. I hope I go too off topic here, but I hope to see everybody at Ash Cave. I hope you guys get to come and hang out with us this Sunday. And we'll have fun, we'll have a good time. So with that, I just want to say thanks very much for tuning into The Mind of Iggy, being there. And we'll make music. We'll make beautiful music together. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll drum, we'll cheer, we'll cry, we'll sing. We'll do all the things that is of the old tribal ways. Connection. No cell phones, no computers. Maybe to take pictures and that's about it. But these are actual hands touching skin. Actual hands touching the bowls. Actual hands burning the sage. Actual feet and bums hitting the ground. Hitting the waterfall, walking the trail, because that's what it's about. Reconnecting, getting back out to nature, honoring her, respecting her for all that she gives. And you know what? Sometimes when we take from the Mother Earth, we don't know what to give back in return. It's like someone taking the blood out of your body. It's really hard to get anything back from it. It's hard to put it back in. And you got to know exactly what blood to put back into somebody if you're going to put it in there, right? Well, the Mother Earth's no different. We drain her, we take her, and sometimes when it's gone, we move on to the next part of her, and we take her and we drain her. But you know what? We leave emptiness. We leave, scars on her. And we have to say, you know what? We have to honor her in prayer. We have to honor her in sacredness. And just hold her in ceremony and hold her in regard. Because we don't do that anymore. There was a time where priests and pastors and stuff, before our indigenous ancestors did this, they did this all the time. They would bless and consecrate the ground. But we don't necessarily do that anymore. It's all about the money. It's all about how much we can sell to the next person, how much we can take, rape, and pillage from people. Good example. Just look around the world, all the places that man has tried and man has invaded, man is taking from. Because that's what we do. We're dependent. We're dependent on the natural resources of the Mother Earth. Her body, her fuel, her love, her lymphatic system, her skin. All those things we take from her. And we take it for granted sometimes. Once you deplete and you raise down a forest, you erase it, it doesn't come back. Because it takes a long process to grow a forest. And this is one of the things that man's been doing for a long time. We don't necessarily talk about this. We talk about the rainforest and its depletion, but we had some nice forests here in America too. And you know what? Firewood was one of the big keys and one of the big money-making things back then. So not much has changed. You know what? This is my concern, that not much has changed and not much will change unless we get radically vigilant on it. Right now, the people who are raping and pillaging and pulling the earth's resources out of the ground are looking for ways to harness and control the air, the sun, and all those things that we consider free. Water. We're not even allowed to collect water in some states because it's illegal. This is my concern, folks, that when we deplete something, there's always a business person or an entrepreneur, somebody with the resources and the vision who just trying to find a way to charge you for it. Something that belongs to you naturally. Something belongs to the earth naturally. The water, the wind, the air. That's part of the give me. This is yours. But you know what? Someone's going to learn. Someone has learned to use that and charge you for it. For its energy that it creates. All right, guys. A lot to think about. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see everybody soon. And on Sunday also as well in the evening at 9 o'clock, Chief Cloud Piler is going to be on with me. We're going to talk about similar topics and things. About how to create food forests, natural gardening and stuff. So look for that show on Facebook and where podcast is free. And we'll talk about that stuff. This is Iggy Garcia, the Mind of Iggy. I'm out of here. Take care. Irisikwi. Matakuyasun. Ho'oponopono. What is above is below. It's good to be here. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Peace out.